Hello and happy Thursday. My name is Michael Leeserman here with the Trial Guide's tip of the day. The date is July 10th, 2025, and our tip today comes from Bill Barton's latest book, Integrated Advocacy: Getting Better, Faster, while Building a Satisfying and Sustainable Law Practice. Bill, welcome. You're going to read the tip for us today. I'm excited to have you here.
And that's after I first tell everybody how much I love you, and it's nice to see you, Michael. All right, on to the tip. As jury trial lawyers, we need authenticity for credibility. We need credibility for persuasiveness. And we need persuasiveness to be effective. Think about it. Without credibility, it doesn't matter what you say. Credibility comes from many sources, but it all starts with sincerity and caring. You, as a lawyer, are the most important unsworn witness the jury will see and hear. Now, that is a lot to say and think and talk about, my friend.
In doing these tips every day, viewers who are here often will see that all the greats, you and Mo and Rick Freeman and Randy McGinn and everyone, Lisa Blue, everyone that we feature seems to have some variation on this, that it's authenticity, credibility. This is the most important thing. Now, you actually break it down a little bit. You say that the credit, because I like to ask, what is credibility? We throw that out so often, and you're saying credibility starts with sincerity and caring. So we use a lot of like value-laden words. What's really at the root of that? Talk about that.
Here's how I think about things. I have a deductive side to me and an intuitive side. I think of this as a dyslexic ace. That's a backwards dyslexic and ace, A-C-E. So we're going to go ECA, and here's how it goes. You want to be effective. I don't care if you're parallel parking, if you're trying to get a date, if you're trying to raise your child. We all want to be effective. E. Now, how do you do that when you're in front of a jury? You must have credibility, which is a confluence of caring and competence, because you have to look like you know what you're talking about, being competent. And you have to care, because if you don't care, why should the jury? So when you have those two things, caring and competence, it allows a possibility of credibility. So I think of that as a dyslexic ace, which produces two C's and finally a third C. So that's my kind of trite alliteration to this. But I do think I try to think about thinking and bifurcating and trifurcating things and getting behind these synonyms that keep running one on top of another. And the thing that kind of makes it all vulgar and banal and plain to me is we know a lack of credibility when we see it, because we think that guy's full of bullshit. And you don't. And here's the thing. Without credibility, it doesn't matter what you say, because nobody cares. So, I mean, we kind of walk right by this hitching post of credibility and presume in some fashion by virtue of status and tenure that we are credible. That is a very pretentious assumption to make, because you're a lawyer. And no disrespect to who we are and what we do, but we're not exactly held as paragons of virtue by everyone.
Not any longer. Maybe one day.
No, not really. And, this idea of standing in front of the mirror and loving the reflection doesn't get you very far in this game. It doesn't work. So, Michael, I'm going to defer now. I've kind of gushed on you pretty quickly about this, but think about it. You as an unsworn witness. And let me give you an example of what I mean dynamically and clinically. In closing argument, when you argue in favor of non-economic damages, not totaling medical bills, but pain and suffering, and the loss and intimacy, and trust, and love, and self-respect. I talked earlier in a podcast about the importance of hope. These are a big, big deal. And when you're talking about them in a closing, in effect, you're a witness. And jury trials are about now listen to this, the generation, consolidation, acquisition, and then the utilization of the intangible attribute of credibility. There's a lot of words there.
That's easy for you to say.
Well, I mean, dynamically, that's exactly what we're doing. It. We are generating credibility. You must earn it. You can't give it to yourself. It can only come from other people, and you have to earn it, and that's a verb.
Yeah, I think so. I think the verb is important here because I know in trial, I feel something kinesthetically that it's actually a visceral when I think of credibility, there's a feeling to it. There's an energy, if I can use that word, that the best I could describe it is it's actually looking straight into your fears. It's being willing to just face those fears with the jury. Some people say being naked in front of the jury, metaphorically, but it's not all in the mind. It's actually a presence that you bring, and it's a courage. I think that the credibility takes a real courage to be yourself, to figure out who that is, and to present in front of the jury, not exaggerating, but really getting to some core truths.
Michael, I think you should be getting credit for today's, because I think what you just said is as good as I could say or better, and I want to thank you. I would say that, you know, this is odd to say, but the hardest thing virtually is to be yourself. Particularly, and I've had 3 bouts of therapy, and I'm 77 years old. I've been doing this for 53 years. I'm not a rookie. I've tried over 500 jury trials. But way down deep, I'm still a little boy. Way down deep, I'm still frightened. And there's a certain ownership of that. And I want to run away from it as fast as I can. I want to be cool. I want to be great. I want to look smooth and good. And frankly, it's kind of a dead-end street. And there is some great value. And we call it authenticity. I actually like the story of the Velveteen Rabbit. It's a childhood story of a rabbit. And he was loved by this my voice actually breaks. He was loved by this little boy until he lost all his fur in his eyes. And then the little boy grew up and left him behind. And here was this Velveteen Rabbit, all loved to death and forgotten. And then one day, he looked out the window and he saw some real rabbit. And, I always think of myself as an old rabbit that's beat up and worn and tattered, and I want to be loved by myself even. And I'm frightened. And that's not a bad place to be, because it gets you out of this being a big shot, and I know it, and it gets you into being a little and frightened and vulnerable. And there's some real truth in that intersection as fast as I want to run from it. And I hope I never lose my way back, said the Velveteen lawyer.
Nice. I think that's beautiful. Thank you. When you were a little boy, what did people call you? Billy, or what was your name?
Billy.
Billy.
Hey, one thing for you that's a funny thing. I remember when I was 12 years old, I got in trouble at school, and the school principal told me I had no common sense. I said, it was so common, why don't I have it then? And he thought I was a smart ass and shipped me home with a note to my mother. And my mother took me aside and she said, "You have no right to the confidence you were born with." So I don't know, Michael, it's kind of a rolling collage.
Well, thank you for bringing Billy here to us today. We got to see Billy, and what a beautiful boy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill, for being here. Yeah.
Much love to you, my good friend.
Much love to you. Let's pause and take a deep breath together and just be grateful to be alive this Thursday. May the work that we do today help to reduce suffering in our lives, in our clients' lives, and reduce suffering in the world. May the work that we do exemplify law at its finest, honorable, and bringing good into the world. May we fiercely and compassionately champion our clients' causes. I'm going to ring a bell 3 times now. This can take you into a meditation practice, a prayer practice, or just let the sounds wash over you and pierce through you and remind you it's Thursday. Wake up, go out, do good things, and have fun while you're doing it.